Good morning. Dang, we have a full house today. I have Glenda Hicks. She's remotely from Conyers. I have Leonard Abbott, who has an awesome podcast, awesome nonprofit. And in the studio, we have a person. So if you've always wanted to get to the professional ranks, you're going to have to learn it's discipline and hard work. There's no shortcut to get there. So Eric, he's on at actually 10:30, but hey, we decided to put him on the show. So what we really want to focus on is Glenda really has been working with nonprofits, and she has a board game that helps learning fun. And so Leonard, when he told me about his nonprofit, I immediately said, okay, we got to get you on the podcast with Glenda because he's doing some amazing things with youth and with seniors. So I'm PodcastPete, and let's go with the girls first. Glenda, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Sure, absolutely. Good morning, everyone. I am Glenda Hicks, and I operate 501c Impact, an innovative nonprofit capacity building organization. And I hail from Conyers, Georgia, just east of the city of Atlanta. And I provide consulting, training, assessment, and coaching services to organizations to help build their infrastructure so they can continue to make sustainable impact in their communities.
I love that. Every time I hear that, I get a chill. I mean, it's beautiful because our nonprofits, they get in to make an impact, but running a nonprofit is no easy task. So we're going to get in with Leonard and we'll see what his challenge is, and maybe we can help our viewers. So Leonard, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve in the nonprofit area of your business.
Yes, I'm Leonard Abbott. I'm the founder of One Change at a Time. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses on intergenerational relationships. We teach the youth how to take care of our seniors. And we do that by teaching young people how to conduct therapeutic, recreational, social, and also to cognitive activities with older adults. And we try to target those older adults who are isolated in long-term care facilities such as skilled nursing homes, those that don't get visitations or may not get the level of care or one-on-one care that they need. We try to focus on those individuals because we know how important it is to help them with their social wellness, to stay engaged, which obviously will have a more positive impact on their overall health condition. And so that's the focus of our organization.
Awesome. I love that, man. That is so needed out here. It's crazy. Okay. So Eric, you're going to be on a little bit later, but since you're in the studio, we're going to put you on. You're going to hear more of Eric's story later, but there's two words I want you to remember when Eric introduces himself: hard work and discipline. And that's the two words that's why these rings here are here. It's because you don't go and buy them. You earn them. So Eric, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, so my name is Eric Watson. I work with consolidated planning, financial side of things with the investments and the different insurances. So help people navigate through that process. But yeah, so who I serve, you said who I serve.
Mm-hmm.
So who I serve, we specialize working with business owners, families, individuals. It just kind of depends on who it is we're sitting across from, but specialize working with small business owners for the most part.
And he has a passion for pouring into youth because he coaches too. So we'll get into that. So Glenda, I want you to speak to Leonard and just kind of what are the challenges that you see? Like a person wants to make an impact, has a great idea like Leonard, and he's navigating through the nonprofit ranks. What advice can you give him to make a bigger impact with his nonprofit?
Sure, absolutely. The first thing I want to say is to commend Leonard for your organization. I was just getting chills listening to you describe the service that you provide. And that's one thing about the work that I do. I just meet so many amazing people that have brilliant ideas and they bring them to fruition with their nonprofit, and they serve pockets of the community that people don't necessarily think of, or if they think of it, they don't know how to provide a help or solution. And you've done that. And the whole intergenerational concept is just monumental. Because we've gotten away from the generations interacting in a meaningful way and having that level of connection and respect that historically was there. So that's just brilliant that you're bringing younger folks together in a way to serve the seniors. And I applaud you for that. And with that said, that's a challenge in and of itself, is going from having an idea to birthing an organization and looking for information on how to structure the business side of things. It's really all about the service and the impact in the community that founders want to make and have. And, structuring and running like a business is kind of an afterthought, and you kind of deal with it as it comes up. And that's just the reality of things that even those of us who are for-profit business owners, Eric can probably attest to this as well. A lot of what we do, we're doing by the seat of our pants, because we just, we've got to get the work done, and then we've got to come back and do the other stuff late at night. But a recommendation is really to align with some folks around you, your go-to people, typically your board, that can really be there for you and bring their level of expertise to the table and be active and engaged. I'm sure you tapped into friends and family, perhaps, that really got your vision as your initial board members, and they were right there by you. But as things are starting to get more active, they likely are not that familiar with what it is they really need to do. And so finding those folks that are bringing a skill set that you need to be your advisor and to help you lead the organization, it will be really critical. So being very intentional about who you look to staff your board, and then helping them to understand how they continue to staff the board with their replacements as they roll off, would be one piece of advice at the outset.
Well, that's awesome right there. Leonard, what would you say has been your biggest challenge that maybe Glenda can shine some light on that you found? I mean, obviously, I feel the same way when I heard your story and your nonprofit focus and impact. I felt the same way Glenda did. So what's been the biggest challenge that she might be able to help you with in your journey?
Well, first off, Ms. Glenda, thank you so much for those kind words. Really do appreciate that. I think it's twofold here. And Pete, we had an opportunity to talk on a previous podcast that we've done, and I'll repeat it here. I think the first thing is really the uniqueness of our operating model, or the mission, so to speak, which is the concept of teaching young people how to take care of seniors, because there's not a lot of organizations out there. There's a lot of different versions of intergenerational programming, but specifically targeting kids from the age of 18. I mean, we go all the way up to around 21, 22 years old, because we have college students who want to volunteer with the organization and do internships and things of that nature. But to take that age group of young people and actually, teach them skills on how to care for older adults. And at times, a lot of young people are a little standoffish when they're dealing with older folks, because especially when you talk about those that may have physical or cognitive disabilities. I mean, teaching a young person how to not only conduct a program, but how to interact and how to look for certain signs when they're working with someone who may have dementia, Alzheimer's, and things of that nature. So the uniqueness of our mission has been a challenge, but I think because of how long we've been doing it and the way that we've been promoting it and partnering with local organizations and businesses and spreading that word, I think it's been helping us to open and shine a little bit of light on what we're doing and the importance of the intergenerational, specifically, again, teaching young people how to take care of seniors who may suffer from physical, cognitive, or social, disabilities. So that's one. And then the funding piece, right? So being a unique organization, like I just mentioned, kind of translate into that part of getting getting corporate sponsors or private foundations or even government institutions to, so to speak, to really believe and understand what you're really trying to do. Because when we're working with, let's say, a nursing home, for instance, there may be a thought that, well, if you're working with this nursing home, isn't the nursing home helping you with some funding for this, or aren't they contributing some sort of support? And that's not the case. We're an individualized nonprofit organization. We do have a small staff, and then we do have volunteers, and our small staff are paid. But I'm fortunate to have a team that's willing to sacrifice at times when we're not able to get funding to supply a payroll, because they're taking time out of their days to plan, organize, train, and that's labor, right? So I'm fortunate to have individuals when we don't have that amount of funding to put towards payroll, and we have to put it all towards the service, that they're willing to say, okay, let's focus on the mission at hand, and we can sacrifice a little bit, from a payroll standpoint. But however, the funding aspect being a challenge and getting that big support to help us grow and expand the mission has been a challenge. And I think as we continue to navigate this space, we hope to continue to highlight the importance and the as I would say, the solution or the result, so to speak, of these interactions, to share that with our potential funders that we seek or solicit funding from, so they can understand, okay, this organization, this mission, what they're doing is making an impact. And I think COVID-19 really helped us, because we came out of COVID, we've gotten supported, by a government grant to help the organization lead coming out of COVID. And that's really been helping us to sustain and continue on with our mission. But I say the COVID piece because I think people really finally realize what social wellness, the effects of not having that social interaction, what it can actually do to a person, right? So when you're used to going to work or going to school and being in the community and interacting with people, you don't realize folks that's in nursing homes, some older adults that's in nursing homes, or some that may be in a rural location far away, or some may be in an urban area but just don't have family around, right? That lack of social interaction creates anxiety, depressions. Those social illnesses speed up whatever disabilities you may have, speed up whatever diseases or ailments you may have, because you're down and you're depressed, and so your body, feeds off of that in a negative way, so to speak, and now you're in a position where you're feeling even worse than you were before. So I think the COVID piece really helped us to kind of connect a little bit more when we're writing grants and really sharing that impact of that social wellness and the importance of us connecting the generations. And we hopefully look forward, to continue to build on that.
I love that. What would you say? You mentioned, Glenda, and we'll go to Eric in just a few minutes. You said that board of directors or board of advisors. What, Leonard, can you ask, is there any area there? Do you have like an established board that are helping guide you or advise you that Glenda might be able to kind of shine some light on?
Oh, that's a great point. Do have a board, but we can use help there. I think the board and honestly, the board that I have with me, I'm real big on what Glenda mentioned earlier. Number one, individuals that are just as passionate about this mission than I am. Mm-hmm. And then number two, individuals that are willing to sacrifice. Because as a visionary or founder or creator of anything, your skin's in the game. Like when I already told my team, I'm doing what I'm doing till I die. So, I'm doing what I'm doing. If I got to be 90 years old in a wheelchair, wherever I'm at, I'm going to be doing, because I love giving back, and I love the concept of, connecting the generations. I love mentoring and love working with youth such as Eric as well. So I think I'll be doing a lot of that as I get older, as long as God allows me to. But the point is, so you have people that believe in that vision just like you. But at the same time, you want to, find the right individuals who are not in it just for their own reasons, but are in it to help see it grow. And having identifying those people, it's tough at times, because I've had a large board up to the point where we've had maybe 8 individuals, 7, 8 individuals, and we've dwindled down to maybe 4. And some people may feel that they've outgrown their role or outgrown the organization. And then some people have other things, personal things that go on that kind of just pull them away. So I can definitely utilize we can definitely utilize some help with getting some board members that can add value to the organization.
Yeah, you said a lot of impactful things there. If I could take an opportunity to comment on some of them. One of the things, going back to where you started with what I hear is outreach, in terms of outreaching those young people at that age group that you identified, and getting them to see the value and the benefit in the work that you're doing, in terms of not just to the seniors that you're serving, but to their own growth and development. And so doing outreach activities to different colleges, universities, technical schools, different programs in the community, having those brainstorming conversations with your leadership team to help you identify creative and innovative ways that you might expand your outreach or do it in different ways, so that you can attract the archetypal person that you're looking for, that would be a good fit, that you could maybe they meet some basic criteria, and then you mold them into the rest of the way that you need them to be in terms of delivering the services that you offer. So I see, some brainstorming conversations, some intentional leadership team meetings, and innovation opportunities to look at maybe how you're doing your outreach, or identifying partners that you could align with, different other nonprofits that work with youth that maybe need more opportunities for their youth to do some different things, that they would want to partner with you and have your program be one of the outlets for youth that they're already plugged into, or young adults at that age. You also mentioned the funding component, and you're spot on when you talk about wanting to look at the results, because that's really what's going to resonate with prospective funders, is knowing that what you're doing makes a difference, showing how you've increased their cognitive ability, or their mobility, or their emotional attitudes, having ways that you measure the impact that your services have on individuals that you serve, and then incorporating that proof into your grant writing applications and into your conversations that you have with prospective donors or corporations that you might have on your target list that you want to approach for sponsorship or donations, to really be able to have them see what you're doing and how it's moving the needle. I was just speaking with a person recently about the work that his organization does. And what it really crystallized for me in that conversation, in that moment, was that, sometimes people and funders are looking for these big numbers. They really want sizable impact and change. And a lot of times it's not about thousands and tens of thousands of people that are being served. It's about the individual. So if you're serving 20 people, 50 people, 100 people, but every one of them is 100% successful, then that's a huge metric. That's changed the life of an individual times 10 or times 100, even though it's not times 10,000. It's not to some exponential number, but it's a person, and it's made an impact. And so really being able to connect those dots to someone is paramount. So that's great that you have that mindset already of tracking your results. And then with your board, this last question that Pete had asked you about your board, again, you were spot on with the recognition that people go through phases in their own life, and sometimes they have the passion, which is the first thing you need to attract someone to your board. But then, and they may even serve well initially, but things change. Maybe they've lost their job. Maybe they have a family dynamic that's going on. Maybe they're moving. They have a big project at work and they just can't commit the same level of time. Those are things that they need to be forthcoming about and forthright, and just let you know, this is not a good fit anymore. And I'm going to have to step back, step down, but I'm going to help you find someone to replace me. And that's where sometimes we fall short, is they don't go that extra step to do you the favor of saying, let me find my replacement. And that's really huge. If you can help coach your board members in concert with your board chair around little things like that, to help them understand that they can really be helpful if they would at least find their replacement of someone of equal strength and skill set and commitment and passion.
I love that. Let's ask Eric, since he's back here just like looking at these rings that he earned, and I will say again, earned. You don't just fall out and grab these rings at Walmart. So you're working with youth. The mindset that you went from high school athletics to the professional ranks, for our viewers to kind of get a grasp, discipline and hard work was just part of your DNA. What would you say to our youth out there that, they're playing sports and everybody wants to make it to the NBA, but there's a small percentage. What have you gained that our viewers can understand? Like, hey, look, you made it to Europe, you made it to Brazil, you made it to Romania, you delivered an incredible path. How can you talk to our youth about what it took to make that journey?
There's a lot that goes into it. Definitely the determination factor. A couple things I would highlight is, number one, you have to have the end vision in mind and be able to just be confident in that. For instance, like at a young age, I'll never forget, like it was career day, elementary school, a guy, a professional athlete came in, he held up a basketball and was like, this basketball has the power to take you all over the world. And like, it stuck with me at that age. So at that age, like I knew I want to play professional sports, and no matter what, like along the way, you're going to have people say, hey, you too short, can't do X, Y, Z. As long as you know what that is that you want, and like you have to be tunnel vision on it. And for the youth, just the mindset that I would say you have to have is like what I've experienced, different walks of life, like the elite. We all have this thing where I like to say we hate losing more than we enjoy winning. And when you have that mindset and just I'm gonna get there no matter what, and you hate losing more than you love winning, like it's just that extra gear that helps you reach things. So some of the heights that you're kind of striving for.
I love it. I want to ask each of this, because I see it come up a lot. There's a lot of distractions out there. I mean, we see it. We're on our phones. We're watching TV. We're doing all this stuff, and we're easily distracted versus maybe 20 years ago. So, Glenda, how do you handle the distractions? For you have your mission to impact the nonprofits and do it in a way that can help a gentleman like Leonard, who's got the great idea, and now he's on a path of growing his vision. How do you handle distractions?
I don't know that it's a good thing, but for me, it's kind of like what Eric just shared. I am so committed and tunnel visioned on the goal that I'm a workaholic and I'm just driven, and I have a vision, and I am like a dog with a bone. I can't give up on it. I just can't. And it gets difficult. It gets challenging. It gets lonely. It gets frustrating as an entrepreneur. And I still have this vision and this calling that I feel is my mission in life. And I just keep pursuing it. And so because of that, I don't have time to get distracted. I stay focused on what's the goal. And so I, in fact, have to make myself get distracted and take a break and do something else. And it wasn't always that way. I mean, I would take time and do, social things and such. But after we became empty nesters, it was like, okay, that's it. I have all the time in the world. And I think that's where it really became more intense. Prior to that, I was a much more balanced person in terms of doing other things and being distracted because of other responsibilities and commitments. But it's that vision and that goal and that inner heart of hearts drive that you have for something that you want to do and do well. So
I love that. Leonard, how do you handle distractions?
Sort of similar to what everyone else has said. Having a plan, right? Having a plan. I think when you have a plan, it's going to keep you on a path. It's going to keep you, focused on whatever that target or that end goal is. And kind of similar to what Eric was stating in terms of when he first heard about the basketball and how that just kind of kept him focused because he had a plan, he had a goal, and same as Glenda. But having a plan, it sounds cliche, but having a plan, being able to, have those goals, being able to prioritize steps to achieving those goals, being able to, plan out your week, right? So it's those things, keeping a plan, having a plan, being able to, prioritize and list out things that you got to get done, kind of helps you steer away from those distractions. And I'm a workaholic. Glenda said, I'm a workaholic. I mean, anybody would tell you I'm a workaholic. I got a lot of stuff that I have going on. I love it. But at times, just like Glenda said too, sometimes I gotta slap myself, and say, man, you gotta go out, relax a little bit, chill. I've been telling myself this, like, chill, be patient, like it's gonna come, I gotta tell myself this, like it's gonna come. You can relax for a little bit, because it's like you're always feeling like you're missing something. You're always feeling like you forgot to do something. You got to do this to get here. And I've recently had to tell myself, relax. Take your time. Think about the long term, right? Because if you accomplished it today, all right, what else are you going to do after that, right? So now, so you're always going to be chasing that. So if you plan for the long term, I think it gives you something to wake up and look for. So I tell myself, appreciate the fight, so, I wake up with that mentality, but definitely having a plan at least will allow you to, stay focused and steer away from those distractions.
I love it. I want to ask Eric this, just a little variation off of that same question. I heard this, I don't know if the numbers are exactly right, that the average person watches 4 hours of TV and 2 hours of social media, the old scrolling stuff. So you're younger than me, quite a bit younger. How are you handling those distractions, which are common in our society, which that iPhone is a blessing and a curse, because you can find anything you want and you can spend hours on TikTok and all those other places. How do you handle, as a young person, the distractions with those things?
Good, very good question. A couple of things. Number one, just like you said, the phone has so much power to it. You can access anything. The beauty in that too is, like, I actually came across an app recently called Opal, and what it does is you can actually put a block on some of those social media things for times and hours during the day to where you have that focus time. So that's kind of counter to kind of balance out the social media side. But boiling back down to that mindset, to piggyback off, just kind of knowing a plan, and I like to say having that daily check-in with yourself as far as, hey, how bad do I want this thing that I say I'm going after? Because I feel like in order to reach certain heights, like, you're probably not the only person chasing whatever it is that your goal is. So when you have that daily conversation with yourself, as far as like, okay, well, if that's the case, what am I doing that's different? So like on my journey, basketball wise, I had a cousin who was down in Florida, and we used to talk trash, family get together. You don't want to lose the family. So as I'm here and I may be having the best practice or whatever with my team, in my mind, I had to play little games with myself to where it's like, okay, well, I don't know if he put up extra shots today. Am I practicing harder than he is on his team? So having to play and create those little mindset games around there. So am I going harder than the person that I can't see? So those little daily check-ins are how I would say help.
Oh, I love it. I'm a big fan of high performance habits. And it talks a lot about that. It's like you almost have a job that you have 10 people behind you that want that job, and you better be faster than them because it's competitive out there. You can't like watch TV. I mean, I believe in the entertainment, but I'm totally focused. I work 15 hours a day, 6.5 days a week, because, of that vision of what you want to do. I want to give, before we go off here, I got to give a commercial break. So this is our commercial. So we're putting our adult children together with our senior parents. Date night with mom and dad for fun, laughter, and enjoying yourself. Because we have talked about a couple workaholics in this podcast, and I think we're all in it with that. But you do have to have time with mom and dad. You got to be able to laugh. You got to be able to build relationships. And the challenge we see in the senior community, I mean, there's a lot of them, but the younger people are busy. They're real busy in their careers, and our aging parents, their needs change quickly. And you got to know what your resources are out there. And you have to be aware of who you can turn to. So we're bringing you together at Grace Church, which is just down the road near Town Center. So for our viewers out there, scan that QR code. If you're having a bad day and you want to laugh, this is 46 minutes of gut-wrenching laughter. And Ken, I've known him for 30 years. This guy is so good. And we have Melissa, who's a rising star in the ranks. She's organizing it, plus Larry, who's one of us. He's a senior with a sense of humor that he has 3 girls, and they all roll their eyes when dad is cracking jokes. So he's going to be on the ticket. So from 6 to 6:30, we'll have Larry and Melissa on there. We'll take a break. We want you to mingle with our vendors, have some light hors d'oeuvres, be able to eat a little bit, know who your resources out there are, because you have to know the different things that are available out there. So that is May 22nd from 6 to 7:30. So that's our commercial break. We always have to have commercials on here because they're the ones that fund everything for us. So Glenda is going to be here from Conyers every Wednesday. And if she can't be on here, we'll find somebody who's like, she's going to want to relax occasionally and go to the beach and go to the mountains and all that. And when she's gone on Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we'll have somebody that'll step in. And Leonard, I want to thank you for being a guest, because it's so important to tap into your resources. Glenda's she's worked with so many nonprofits. She sees the same things over and over again. And she wants to pour herself into the nonprofits, because nonprofit vision is a vision, but you got to put the people behind the vision. And Glenda has a board game. Normally I'd be able to flash it up on the screen, but I'm not that organized this morning. So we'll have information on that, but you can look her up on LinkedIn, because this is on LinkedIn. So just ask her about that, because you want to learn and you want to grow. And if you can learn and grow by playing a game that helps you do that, that's a good combination. And for our viewers out there on LinkedIn, stay tuned, because you're going to hear from Eric. You're going to hear the story behind high school athletics to the professional ranks. Leonard, I'm going to let you, we're going to go around the horn. What would be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
Believe in yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. We talked about distractions, and I think, a lot of time distractions can be negative distractions, obviously, and can affect a person's, internal stability, mental stability. I think, just believing in yourself, staying focused, but really believing in yourself. Mm-hmm. It sounds cliche, but I would like to leave people with that. Believe in yourself.
I love it. Glenda, that's a tough one to follow.
It is.
Be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home?
I'll just build on that and say also keep pressing forward. Just keep believing in that vision and in yourself, and keep navigating the waters that you encounter and the challenges and the barriers because of that belief and that confidence that you know that what you're doing matters and is necessary, and seek out guidance along the way from others that can help you in some way. Don't be afraid to ask folks for things, whether it's tangible or whether it's advice, because we can't do it alone. It takes a team of folks to help you get where you're going.
I love it. Eric, you're going to be on in just a few minutes, but we're going to ask you the same question. What would you want our viewers to take home from our time on the podcast?
Yeah, I would say to piggyback off those things, to just know where you want to go, know what that looks like, and just that confidence. So, because they're along that journey, life we know is going to throw us curveballs, so you're going to have your tough days around it. So have that daily reminder wherever it is you need to see, to where, hey, when those rough times are happening, you're like, hey, this isn't going to last forever, but when I get there, it's going to be all worth it. So know where you want to go and continue to paint that picture on so you can touch it and feel that energy of why you're doing it and why it's worth it.
I love it. I'm going to take this one from Glenda's. I want to ask our viewers, share this with people you think could benefit. Because if it's in the nonprofit, Glenda can help you, and she's on LinkedIn, so you can just comment on and below and be able to tap into her resources that she knows are available, because you don't know what you don't know, or the best kept secret. You have to get out there and ask for what you want. And Leonard, we'll make sure we connect you two on LinkedIn, and you guys can further the conversation. And I know there's more. And if I don't get to Eric, my schedule, I have a 1 at 11. So it's been a crazy day. So thank all three of you for being a guest. I really appreciate you taking the time out to share with our viewers some valuable insights into really how to make an impact out in the marketplace.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Y'all have a wonderful day.